Secretary, could we ask you a few questions?
Yeah, let me take a couple. I've got to go give a speech, but I've got time for just a few.
You got time for two.
Secretary, could we get your reaction to the Atlantic releasing the full details of what was spoken about in this signal chat, and if you think any of your fellow colleagues should be fired for what was discussed?
Well, first and foremost, I'm the Secretary of Agriculture. These are not my lanes, so I want to be very careful not to weave into any lanes that are not mine, but I will say this. President Trump has utmost confidence in my colleagues in the cabinet. I think that the pace at which we are winning on issues that the people of America voted on is absolutely unprecedented. There is no doubt that my friends, my colleagues, my family that are part of this cabinet are the best, most patriotic, most impressive Americans I've ever been around, and I'm so proud of them.
Secretary Rollins, you said
Yes.
that you were headed to the...
Recently said that the poultry vaccine for bird flu could lead to the loss of new factories. Is that the same position that you take as well?
And who just said that? I'm sorry.
Secretary Kennedy said that.
Oh, Secretary Kennedy. So here's what's important for all of us to realize across the government, and I think the cabinet that President Trump has put together is truly unprecedented. I've said this multiple times, and that we're no longer working in our silos. We are working together on behalf and for all Americans. And so the question of vaccines, and whether we're talking about vaccines in the poultry industry, vaccines across the agriculture industry, that at the end of the day, we have to think about more than just what those vaccines or therapeutics or what the research is showing, how that solves for a certain problem within that limited segment. And so Secretary Kennedy's approach, and I agree with it, is we've got to think about this in an all encompassing approach with the NIH, with the CDC, with the USDA, with Health and Human Services. So as we are moving forward, we move forward together. So as we are investing resources into figuring out how to solve this avian bird flu, which has been absolutely a disaster for our poultry industry, our egg layers especially, but we can't just make the decision on what that looks like, just us over at the USDA building. We will work together. I am encouraged at the research that is happening from the private sector and in looking at the right way to move forward. Thank you. I'll take one more.
Thanks a lot. Probationary employees that got fired, they got a letter or an email that said, based on your performance, you have not demonstrated that you further employment at the agency would be in the public interest. Is that really why they were fired? What is that?
So the approach of DOGE, and we just had a cabinet meeting, which a lot of you joined us towards the end on Monday. And the most important bottom line is that the entire cabinet is aligned, is supportive, and understands the president's vision that is being effectuated by Elon Musk and in partnership with all of the agencies. Of course, USDA, one of the largest agencies with over 100,000 employees. You've all heard me talk about some of the contracts that have been canceled, some of the reductions in force that we're doing. We will never stop working for the American people, the American farmers and ranchers, and ensuring that what we're doing is in their best interests. So as we continue forward, we map those plans out. This will perhaps only be a couple more months, 2, 3, 4 months, while we're looking at what that realignment and reduction in force looks like, and then we begin the rebuild. Listen, the final thing I'll say is that as the reducing in force is happening, one thing that I think is really important that the media has not reported on as much is the $1 trillion in new jobs in manufacturing that's now being onshored under this president in the last 2 months. The private sector is about to explode with new jobs and new opportunities in those areas, and so the opportunity for those who did work for government to now perhaps move into more productive opportunities for themselves, for their families, for their jobs, and for this country, I believe will be unprecedented. Thank y'all so much. Thank y'all.